All right, so we're diving into spiders along the dark web today, and you guys sent us this excerpt.
Okay.
And it throws us right into this world where, like, a detective stumbles upon this whole criminal network that's using technology that's both, like, cutting-edge A&D vintage.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy. So we're talking about Detective Willard, right?
Yeah.
Investigating this company that's filtering all these shady transactions.
Uh-huh.
And he finds out they're using the system called .gcdon. Have you ever heard of that?
No, and that's what's so interesting about this. I think it really highlights the author's choice to kind of blend the old and the new. You know, it's hinting at how the past can still hold sway, even in like a technologically advanced future.
Oh, totally. I think we assume that, future societies would have just left behind all this outdated tech, right?
Right.
But Doomer's like making us question that.
Yeah.
So Willard, he finds out that this .gcon thing is somehow tied to paper files,
Oh, wow.
which is already weird.
Especially in this digital age.
Yeah, exactly. And then he gets firebombed. It's so sketchy the way that whole scene is handled.
Right. Yeah, it almost feels like something out of a classic noir film,
Totally.
with the suspicious fire examiners and firemen who like clean up the scene way too fast.
Yeah, like who are they protecting?
Exactly.
Okay.
So then Chief Miller from the FBI steps in, and he's like trying to unravel this mystery. But
Yeah.
he's grappling with the loss of Willard, but he's also got this burning suspicion about .gcon.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
thankfully, Agent Hunter on his team actually recognizes it.
And what a revelation that is, because it turns out .gcon stands for Great Conversation, which is, the address of the infamous Infinity Lounge.
Oh, right.
You remember this was that hyper-realistic virtual reality experience from back in 2050 that lets you interact with any historical figure imaginable.
Wait, hold up. You could interact with like any historical figure.
Yeah, it was all thanks to this massive program that was built using the works of basically everyone.
That's wild. Like, imagine chatting with Einstein or debating philosophy with Socrates.
It was a big deal. But all good things.
Exactly. The Infinity Lounge. Well, it became a breeding ground for controversy.
How so?
Think about it. You have unfiltered access to historical figures, including all their flaws and, their unedited thoughts.
I see.
And that clashed with a lot of the prevailing views at the time,
Yeah, it makes sense.
which led to censorship concerns.
Right, and eventually it became this haven for criminals.
Yeah, and that ultimately got it banned.
Wow, what a cautionary tale about technology.
Absolutely, even the coolest technology.
So this is where Miller's investigation takes this sharp turn, right?
Yeah, he suspects these criminal transactions are actually being routed through the Infinity Lounge,
Making them untraceable.
basically.
So to get to the bottom of this, he takes a leap of faith.
Literally a leap of faith.
He plugs into the Infinity Lounge.
He does.
What do you think motivated him to take such a risk?
I think he's driven by a sense of duty to avenge Willard's death,
For sure.
but there's also this element of intellectual curiosity. I mean, he's a cryptology expert facing a puzzle unlike any he's ever seen before.
Right.
And the allure of the unknown is just too much to resist.
It's like stepping to a digital labyrinth,
Yeah.
Unsure of what you'll find, but you're determined to uncover the truth.
And he's risking his life in the process.
That's crazy.
It speaks volumes about his character.
Totally. He's transitioning from this by-the-book FBI chief to someone who's willing to bend the rules, even operate outside the system to achieve justice. It makes you wonder if the system itself is somehow complicit.
It does.
Wow. So Miller is in this hyper-realistic VR world, hanging out with Agatha Christie.
Of all people.
And she drops this bombshell that the Infinity Lounge isn't just a simulation. It's this digital underworld, a haven for criminals and, those seeking knowledge that's too dangerous for the real world.
Like a digital library of the forbidden.
Okay, hold on. So Christie reveals that this criminal network operating within the Infinity Lounge could have roots going back to figures like Al Capone and Pablo Escobar. This is not some small-time operation.
No.
We're talking about a lineage of organized crime that's adapted to the digital age.
It's both terrifying and kind of brilliant at the same time.
It is.
It speaks to their adaptability and their ruthlessness.
And their ability to exploit the very systems that were designed to control them.
Exactly.
And remember that money checkout system
Yeah.
that's built into the program. It's the perfect tool for money laundering.
And other shady dealings.
It confirms Miller's suspicions, right?
It does. But Agatha Christie gives him this warning.
What's that?
The people behind this are powerful and dangerous. They silence Willard, and they won't hesitate to do the same to Miller.
So what does she tell him to do?
She urges him to seek out a group of unconventional experts
Okay.
who are operating in the deeper layers of the Infinity Lounge. But here's the catch. Accessing those areas could be fatal if he's disconnected prematurely.
Oh, wow.
Imagine your physical body is vulnerable in the real world, but your mind is trapped in this digital realm.
That's scary. So what was he thinking going into those deeper levels?
Well, it's a gamble, but it's one he feels compelled to take.
He's already lost one colleague. He's not about to back down from a challenge.
Especially when the truth is at stake.
All right, so picture this. Miller is following Agatha Christie into the main chamber of this virtual world.
Okay.
And it's this massive space filled with countless conversations from across history.
Like a digital library of Alexandria.
Yeah, and they don't linger there. They head to this unassuming building, like a secret meeting place.
What do they find there?
A group of fictional detectives from different eras.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. We're talking Isaac Asimov, Edgar Allan Poe, even James Fitzgerald, the real-life criminal profiler who caught the Unabomber.
This is amazing.
It's this crazy blend of, like, fact and fiction.
It's like a crime-solving dream team assembled across time and imagination.
It is.
Also,
It's like Doomer is playing with the very fabric of storytelling, you know, blurring the lines between reality and fiction. But what's their role in all of this?
They've been investigating the criminal network within the Infinity Lounge. And what they've uncovered is deeply disturbing.
Okay, come on, spit it out.
They reveal that the masterminds behind this whole operation are the techno-oligarchy.
The techno-oligarchy.
This powerful group that's controlling vast amounts of wealth and technology.
So they're essentially manipulating society from the shadows.
Exactly.
Wait, they're using something as seemingly archaic as the Infinity Lounge to pull off their crimes?
It's a testament to their cunning and their ability to exploit the unexpected.
They've weaponized nostalgia.
You could say that.
Turning this once celebrated technological marvel into a tool for their own nefarious purposes? Okay, this is getting creepy. But how do they manage to keep their activities a secret?
That's what makes them so dangerous. They've designed their system to be virtually impenetrable. Even the original creators of the Infinity Lounge couldn't crack it.
Really?
It's like a digital fortress with layers upon layers of security.
So what's next for Miller?
Well, just as he's getting this crucial information, things take a dark turn in the real world. Remember that shadowy figure from the beginning?
At Willard's?
Yes. He's infiltrated FBI headquarters, and he's about to attack Miller while he's plugged into the simulation.
Oh, Miller's completely vulnerable.
He is.
This can't be good.
So remember, we left off with Miller in the Infinity Lounge, totally oblivious to this shadowy figure closing in on him.
Yeah, it was getting pretty intense.
And then there's Agent Kindred,
Right.
who seems so reliable. Well, she reveals her true colors.
Wait, you're saying she was in on it this whole time?
Yeah, it's a real betrayal.
Wow. Doomer really throws us for a loop.
He does.
So what happened?
Does Kindred just stand there and watch?
Yeah, as Miller gets attacked.
Not exactly. It's more complicated than that.
Okay, I'm listening.
See, while Hunter tries to stop the shadowy figure.
Another agent on Miller's team.
Right. Kindred pulls out her gun.
But not to help Hunter.
No, she aims it at both of them. She's not just an accomplice. She's actively trying to take Miller out.
This is wild.
Is that right?
So much for trusting your team.
Exactly.
So, while all this is going down, Miller is still in the Infinity Lounge.
Oblivious to the danger.
Is he still hanging out with Agatha Christie?
Not quite. It's as if she senses the danger.
Even from inside the simulation?
Yeah, she urges him to leave immediately.
She knows.
She stresses how fatal it could be.
To be disconnected too soon.
Exactly.
Wow. It's like she has a sixth sense.
You could say that.
This awareness that goes beyond the virtual world. Does Miller believe her?
He does.
He trusts her intuition.
They make a break for it.
Okay, so they're racing through this virtual library. You're trying to get to the exit.
It's a close call.
And at the same time, we've got Hunter fighting for his life.
Yeah.
Against this shadowy figure.
And Kindred aiming her gun.
Talk about intense.
It is.
So what happens next?
Well, as Miller and Christie navigate this digital maze, things come to a head at FBI headquarters. The shadowy figure overpowers Hunter. And just as he's about to strike...
Wait, don't leave me hanging.
Miller jolts awake.
He wakes up.
Just in time.
Wow, talk about a close call.
He sees the figure standing over him.
With his hand around his throat.
Right.
So what does he do?
He fights back, kicks the figure off...
Reaches for his derringer.
And fires a shot.
Right in the head.
The figure collapses.
Is it over?
Not quite.
What now?
The figure gets up
It can't be.
and reveals itself to be an android.
No way.
One of those hyper-realistic ones.
An android assassin.
It's a-
Who would have the resources to pull that off?
That's a whole other level.
Miller has stumbled onto something huge.
He has.
So how does he escape?
He uses his quick thinking, a Bowie knife.
Wow. Old school versus futuristic.
I know, right?
So he disables the android.
It short circuits and goes up in smoke.
Okay, but what about Kindred?
Well, she walks in, acting all concerned.
Fake.
Yeah, but Miller sees right through her.
He knows.
He accuses her.
And she panics.
She draws her weapon.
Does she?
So gun jams.
Talk about luck.
Miller throws his Bowie knife,
He doesn't hesitate.
striking Kindred in the heart.
She's dead.
Yeah.
2 bodies, a rogue android. This is a turning point for Miller.
It is.
He's lost colleagues, been betrayed. He can't trust anyone.
And he knows it.
So he goes
He
underground,
realizes he has to operate outside the system
away from his superiors.
to stay alive,
He's shedding his old identity.
becoming something new.
What about the literary detective club?
They're stuck in the Infinity Lounge.
Worried about Miller.
But they can't do much.
They know the techno-oligarchy is dangerous.
And they're limited by the simulation.
This techno-oligarchy is more than just tech geeks.
Oh, yeah.
They have so much power.
An influence.
It goes beyond the digital world.
It does.
So the detective club reveals something else.
What's that?
Something even more disturbing.
Okay.
The techno-oligarchy's involvement.
With the Infinity Lounge.
It's not just about money or manipulating data.
It's much worse.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
They're using the simulation for something far more sinister.
What is it?
They're gathering information, blackmailing people, even manipulating real-world events.
They're controlling everything.
They're shaping the world to their will.
It makes you think. Could this happen in our world?
It's a chilling thought.
So how does Miller fight back?
That's a story for part 3.
The stakes are higher than ever.
They are.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Where we're wrapping up our exploration of spiders along the dark web.
I know you're on the edge of your seat,
Totally. We left off with Chief Miller going rogue,
determined to take down the techno-oligarchy.
but also facing this idea of digital immortality.
Yeah. The promise they offer their recruits,
It's pretty messed up.
it is a Faustian bargain for sure.
So where do we even begin with this?
Well, Miller's transformation from by-the-book FBI chief to vigilante is fascinating.
It really makes you think about the system. Like, does it force people to go rogue when it's corrupted?
That's a good question.
So where does Miller even start?
He doesn't use conventional tactics.
Right, he embraces the darkness
He uses his knowledge of the criminal underworld.
and what he learned in the Infinity Lounge.
Yeah, it's like he becomes a shadow himself,
Moving through the city, gathering information.
forming alliances.
Speaking of allies, those names the Literary Detective Club gave him.
Ted Kaczynski, Alan Pinkerton.
Edward Snowden.
What do you make of them?
They're controversial, to say the least,
They are.
but they all challenge the system,
They saw the flaws and spoke out.
even if their methods were criminal.
Exactly.
So Miller is learning from the best of the worst.
You could say that.
But how does he actually use this knowledge,
To fight the techno-oligarchy.
right, that controls so much?
Resources, technology, information.
How can one man make a difference?
Well, this is where the spider metaphor comes in.
Okay, explain that.
Miller's like a spider, spinning a web of deception. Weaving together information contacts opportunities.
To trap his prey.
He's patient, methodical, and he strikes at the right time.
It's like he's using their tools against them.
Exactly.
They wanted to control the dark web.
But he uses its anonymity to expose their crimes.
Fighting fire with fire.
And as he digs deeper, he uncovers the true extent of their reach.
Which is...
It goes beyond finance and technology.
I knew it.
They're manipulating politics, media, even culture,
It's like they're shaping the world.
to their will.
It's scary to think this could actually be happening.
It does make you wonder.
So does Miller expose them?
He does,
Ow!
in a truly spectacular fashion.
Don't leave me hanging.
The climax takes place in the Infinity Lounge,
Of course.
a digital battleground.
High stakes.
The fate of both worlds is at stake.
Okay, so what happened?
He uses their desire for digital immortality against them. He shows everyone how they've manipulated and exploited people.
Promising eternal life while using them as pawns.
He turns their own twisted ambition against them,
Classic David and Goliath.
but with the digital twist.
So Miller wins,
He does.
but he's changed.
He's seen too much.
He disappears into the shadows.
A watchful guardian.
It's a bittersweet victory.
It is.
But it gives us hope.
Even against overwhelming power?
We can fight for truth and justice.
Fighters Along the Dark Web is more than just a thriller.
It's a cautionary tale.
About power, technology, and the importance of being vigilant.
Because information can be a weapon or a shield.
It makes you think about the choices we make.
The information we consume.
And the world we're creating.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you'll keep exploring and questioning.
And diving deep into the complexities of our world.
Until next time.
Keep those thinking caps on.